I am not a professional writer, but I'm trying my best. Hey, everybody, my name is Brandon. You might recognize me from the Cantrip Cast or from my TikTok, Brandon the DM, and I used to make a lot of D&D content. Absolutely love Dungeons & Dragons. Been playing since I was 8-year-old, and I still play a bunch of private games with friends. I just don't make content based around it anymore. Why not? Well, because I did everything I wanted to do with it. So what do I do now? This. Arkenvale is this channel that I am currently running. It's like a passion project. Basically, Arkenvale is just one epic fantasy story that I am telling, both in written and narrated format, that I release one chapter at a time. The one thing that I learned / realized when starting this project, though, was that I have to write this way differently than I would a D&D campaign. I've been so used to writing things in like a D&D format of just like plots, events, ideas, encounters, and etc. that doing something like this was totally different for me. I am by no means a professional writer. I'm just trying my best to write a really cool and fun story. And I think it's a lot of fun. I really do. But I have had a few people ask me like what my writing process has been. And I kind of wanted to do just a quick little video about that. If you're also just somebody that's writing for fun, if you're not trying to be like a professional, but you want to write a cool story for people to read and you just want some quick little tips and hints on like, how do I get started, or how did you get started, or just some inspiration, then this might be a good video for you to watch. Again, not a professional, but as somebody that wrote a lot of D&D campaigns that's now transitioned to do fantasy storytelling, this is how I've done it. I'm just trying my best, man. So if you've been listening to Arkenvale, this is going to have spoilers a little bit because I am going to show one of the kind of like outlines and things that I do in this video. So spoilers we'll do chapter 2 of Arkenvale, so not super far into it. There's a prologue, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 is coming out in about a week or so. Like I said, I release it one chapter at a time. So if you want to watch this video or don't care about Arkenvale and want to watch this video, then go ahead. If you are catching up on Arkenvale and don't want spoilers, then feel free to kind of skip this for now if you'd like to. So what kind of writing do? I do a mixture, put it that way. When I started this journey, I was looking into like, what's the best way for me to write things? I was so used to writing like spontaneous D&D stuff where I would just have bullet points of this happens, this happens, this happens, this is a thing, this is a thing, this is a thing, this is the place they're in, go. And I would just improvise a lot of shit. And it was a lot of fun. But when writing a fantasy novel like this, I'm not playing it or reading it in front of a live audience. This is something I'm pre-writing and recording and putting out for people to read and listen to. So obviously I couldn't do it just like how I do a D&D campaign. So it seems like there's two big kind of methods of writing that I've discovered, like looked into and listened about. One is discovery writing and the other is outlining. I love discovery writing because it lets me just kind of go with the flow. I just get to go write what I think is like appropriate, and it keeps me on my feet and keeps things more spontaneous for me and more fun. And I like that because it still gives me that sense of like improvising that I really, really like. But also, sometimes it's a little hard because I'm trying to put together a really tight and just good epic fantasy story, and it needs some more structure than what I thought it would need. So what did I start doing? A bit of both, if I'm being honest. I haven't outlined the entire book. I knew how I wanted it to start. I have an idea of the end, so I guess you could say that I kind of have an outline for the beginning and the end of like, this is where it starts, this is where it ends, and this stuff in the middle is what I got to figure out. How do they get from here to here? And all this jumbly mess in the middle is how I'm figuring that out, like kind of improvising, go with the flow. And that is what I really enjoy about it, is I'm having just as much fun writing this as some people are reading it, because even I don't know how things are going to go in the next couple of chapters until I write it. I might have some ideas, but as I'm writing, things kind of click with me, and I'm really enjoying it. But for that to happen, the one thing I did start doing, which kind of started to tighten up the chapters a little bit for me and make them more smooth, make the writing process easier, was I would start outlining the chapters before I went to write them, which I guess is a pretty common thing to do. I'm not saying this is like a unique thing and this is my specialty of writing. I know other people probably do the same thing. It's just what I like to do as well. So I will have my idea of the entire story, the entire book, whatever you want to call it. At first, I was just kind of going with the flow, discovery writing, no outlines whatsoever. And then I started outlining some of the chapters and found myself writing things a lot easier. I would finish one chapter and I would move on to the next chapter. But before I wrote that chapter, I wanted to conceptualize, okay, I know based on the last chapter, I know XYZ is going to happen in this chapter. So let's do like a one-page outline so that way I can put it on one screen and look at it while I'm writing the actual chapter and reference things that I talked about of key points and bullets that I want to hit to make sure I'm at least satisfying the promises that I made to come into the chapter. But then also, because I didn't write everything down and outline everything, it still gives me room to kind of improvise on the fly if I think of something cool. And the best part about writing your own story is, well, you can always change your outline. Like, you just can. Nobody can tell you what to do. It's your story. So, I mean, yeah. So what's an outline look like for me? I keep it very simple. I'm going to pull up, let's see. Bam, there we go. So this is chapter 2 of Arkham Vale. Again, spoilers if you have not read it yet. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Let's do one more. Okay, there we go. So this is chapter 2. As you can see, I'm not going to go through and read all of it, but it's a pretty long chapter. You know, I'm just going to keep scrolling. I think it's about 6,000 or 7,000 words. Almost there. There we go. Yeah, so it's a couple pages long. It's I want to say close to 6,000, give or take words. I can tell you right now, actually. It is, if we go from here, it is 5,934 words, technically 5,932 if you exclude the words chapter 2. So, a lot of words, funny man. But what does the outline look like for this chapter? It looks like this. This is it. It's just one page. That's all it is. Very simple. I got the beginning. Aiden is with Kryn in Captain Kellett's office, and some stuff happens, and they have a confrontation and a little bit of, not, I wouldn't say lore dump, but exposition of the captain talking to the two friends. After that, I have some little tidbits of what to mention in this paragraph or in this first part of the chapter. Be sure to include world information of the history of the ore itself, describe Aiden's internal feelings, Kellett to be upset from Aiden not staying, that kind of stuff. I got to make sure these are 3 bullet points I need to hit in this first part of the chapter because it's very pivotal. I know I have to do that, but the creativeness of how I want that to happen actually comes with the actual writing part of it. I have a middle section, and, the middle of the chapter is from a different person's perspective, so there's a page break in there. This is after all this happens. It cuts to a different person, which is the main bad guy, I guess they were talking to in this paragraph. And it's short. It's just kind of his perception on things after he's done talking to the two friends. He calls for some officers to assist him with a job he wants them to do. And it's really, really quick. I kept this page break very, very simple. I don't like to do a lot of big perspective changes in the middle of a chapter. If I have a chapter that I'm writing, I want a lot of that chapter to be about the one person's perspective it's currently in. I do like to kind of change it to a different person's perspective if it's short. If this was really, really long, this would be probably its own chapter. But this was maybe just a page of this. So I was like, that's appropriate to just kind of throw into this chapter. If it was 5, 6, 7 pages, it would have been a completely own chapter on its own. And in the end, it switches back to our protagonist and him and his friend having a conflict about the argument that happened previously, leading into some foreshadowing as, Aiden, the main character, is leaving. He doesn't know what to do. The shift ends as normal. The workers leave. Kryn is stopped in the factory, informed the Sea Officer Kellett's. Aiden says goodbye, leaves for home, and some stuff happens. So obviously, there's some foreshadowing of things. But this is it. That's the outline. That's all I do. I found the simpler I keep the outline, the more freedom I have in this. I did try making a very, very detailed outline for, I think, chapter 3, the one that's coming out here soon. And it was just too much. I liked the simplicity of this one. The outline that I had for the 3rd chapter was 3 pages, and that was just too much. By keeping it short like this, it just gives me the key points I need to hit, kind of like in a D&D campaign. So when I'm writing, it allows me to just kind of go crazy to be able to write, almost 6,000-7,000 words for a chapter because I don't feel as limited. If I do a 3-page outline for something, yeah, I have a lot of information to work with, but the bad side is I also have a lot of information to work with that's a little overwhelming, and it feels like it kind of stunts my creativity because now I'm forcing myself to go off of an outline that is probably too long versus keeping it kind of vague to just give me ideas as I'm going. So that's really just how I go about writing chapters. Yeah. So this is all new to me. I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm being honest with you. I'm just trying my best. My history comes from writing D&D campaigns. That's where it comes from. This is a totally new thing to me, but I am enjoying it. This is definitely more of a passion thing. I just want to tell a really cool story. And I know a lot of people might want to be professional writers. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just want to write for the fun of it, for their own health, or to express themselves, which is why I'm doing it. well, maybe this video is a good video for you, just to kind of just get some ideas. You know, I'm not giving professional writing advice again, but maybe just I found from making videos over the past couple years that sometimes me just expressing something that I do in like my own way or format is enough for somebody else to pick up on and be like, you know what, I like that, but I'm going to do my own thing with it. But just watching this video real quick, it just sparked something of how I want to go about things. That's all this is really meant to be. So yeah. If you want to listen to the journey into Arkenvale, if you like epic fantasy adventures, then chapters come out every other week here on YouTube. You can also read them for free in Discord, and you can also read them for free on it's a free Patreon. There's no tiers to even pay for anything or donate anything. It's just a free Patreon. You can read it there if you enjoy reading fantasy novels. If you like this video, want me to do kind of more progress videos on how I'm developing as a writer, make sure you leave a like. That'd be cool, because then maybe every once in a while I'll throw a video like this up on the channel. These videos definitely aren't going to be my main focus, but maybe like, I don't know, once a month or so, or once every other couple weeks, I'll post a video like this, kind of like, hey, I'm 10 chapters in, and I discovered that I like doing things this way now too, because it's going to be cool to see the story kind of evolve over time as I continue to write and see how my writing kind of improves as the story gets more epic. Well, that's going to be it. Again, I'm Brandon, not a professional writer. This is the channel Arkenvale. Again, if you're looking for a new story to listen to or read, then I would appreciate if you listen to Arkenvale and give me some honest feedback, especially if you're a writer. That's probably the most important thing to me, is I want people's writing feedback to know, hey, you suck. Stop. Oh, okay. Or, hey, this is good, but maybe do this a little better. I do know one habit I got to break is I need to learn to show more, not tell more. I'm trying to find a good balance between that, and that's some good advice I've gotten recently. So, all right, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to go play Kingdom Hearts or something until I pass out. So, okay, bye.